Today, I'm giving myself 7 hours to catch 5 bass that weigh 12 pounds on 2 different lakes that I've never seen before in my life. And I'm not gonna let anyone try to stop me.
Hey, I don't throw shit at you when you go by, do I?
That's true.
And I suggest you don't do it.
Welcome to Lake Break, a series devoted to the #1 question that I get asked. How do you find bass on a new body of water? I don't get help, I don't get information, I just put the boat in and go.
This video is brought to you by my apparel company, Fin Fishing. Right now for the month of October 2024, you can buy a USA made sun shirt and a bass hat for $67. All you have to do is add the sun shirt of your choice to cart, add the hat of your choice to cart, and you will see that automatic discount at checkout. Shopping at Fin Fishing is truly one of the best ways to help support the Bass Fishing HQ channel. I greatly appreciate all of you who have done so.
Today I am fishing 2 lakes located in New York. Now these particular lakes are connected by a large canal. And when I got to these lakes, I just decided that I was going to go to the northern lake and work my way down south, trying to spend equal time of my 7 hours in each lake. Now, anytime that I go fishing, I always like to spend the first hour or 2 of the day actually fishing and not doing things like graphing around looking for bass. Bass are typically pretty active in the morning, and so when I got into this lake, I noticed that there were some good looking duckweed mats on the shoreline. So I decided to pick up a frog and start fishing around these duckweed mats. Now, after about 45 minutes of fishing, I had not had a single bite and the sun was starting to get up. So I decided to go ahead and do a run through. This lake was not too big, so I decided that it would probably only take about 20 minutes to circle the whole thing. The biggest thing that I was trying to look for was just something different because everything was kind of looking the same, but I just wanted to see, is there anything different? Now, there were 2 things that I noticed on the run through. One, the northern end of the lake looked like it had a little bit of an algae bloom. I could tell that the water was just a little bit more discolored on that end. And I also kind of saw this particular area. Although it's not vastly different from the rest of the lake, you can tell that there are a number of points fairly close by, and points are always a good place to find a bass. So I decided to start fishing around these points. So I decided to fish both in and out in this area. I fished some outside grass lines with a chatterbait, and I was also fishing on the bank with a frog and using a flipping stick. I really didn't know if there would be more bass on the bank or if there would be more bass out, so that was what I was trying to decipher.
Gosh, you missed it.
Now, the first bite that I got of the day was in a mat on a frog. And although I missed this fish, it was still a clue. So I decided to go ahead and keep going down the bank fishing that frog.
Oh, man. Dang it. That was not what I wanted to catch. Slimy guy.
Now, after having a few bites on the frog and missing them, as well as catching that pike, I just decided that I was going to go ahead and keep going down the bank on my trolling motor to see if I couldn't get any other bites. And that's when I ran into this guy.
Hey, I don't throw shit at you when you go by, do I?
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And I suggest you don't do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
See that camera right there?
I see it.
You know why we have them?
Probably for fishermen.
Yeah, that stick things in people's boats.
Stick things.
It costs $1,700 to have that new lift right there fixed.
Stick things in people's boats. What do you mean?
Over a little fish.
Oh, I see.
Top that boat lift.
Yeah.
The hole in it with his rubber worm.
That's not good. So I just kind of wanted to pause the video real quick and just kind of explain to you what just happened and also my reaction to the situation, because in that moment I was actually pretty shocked by what had happened. As I was approaching that individual's dock, I could see him kind of coming down the stairway, and he was holding a fishing rod. He was holding a fishing rod in his hand. And so my immediate thought was like, this guy's gonna come out on the dock, he's gonna wanna shoot the breeze, ask me how many fish I've caught or whatever, are they biting? Like, I've run into so many of those conversations out there on the water, especially while dock fishing, because a lot of times you are very close to someone and you may be fishing their dock and they're always asking, are the fish biting, blah, 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 blah. So that's what I had thought was happening. Now, as I skipped my bait up underneath that guy's dock, he said, hey, really loudly, and then paused. And I thought that he was joking. Like, I thought he was just kind of being funny. But then, as you could see, he kind of stormed out onto the dock saying, I don't throw stuff at you as you go by. And then, funny enough, he ends up kind of casting his fly bait at my boat, which it's just funny to me because he was obviously retaliating. So in that moment though, I was a little bit shocked. And if you listen really closely in that video, when I did cast my frog up under there, I did hit one of his metal dock posts. Now, although a plastic frog lure would never hurt a metal dock post, in the moment, I did realize, like, I hit this guy's property. He doesn't own the water, but he owns the dock. And obviously his boat was right there, and maybe he heard that noise of that clink, and maybe he thought I hit his boat. I don't know what it was, but in that moment, that is why I apologized. I said, yo, I'm sorry, because I was sorry for hitting the guy's dock, which of course, I probably fished 75 or 80 different docks that day, and I remember kind of hitting 2 in that way. And of course, the one that I hit is that guy right there, the guy that was coming out onto his dock. And so I always make it a point when I'm fishing someone's dock to never damage personal property. Like, I don't cast at boats a lot, especially if I know that I'm using like a heavier bait, because I don't want to damage anyone's personal property. I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. And so in the moment, although I was a little bit shocked, that's why I apologized to the guy. I was like, yo, I'm sorry. But I also just kind of wanted to get away. Like, I could tell in this guy's voice that he was upset. Like, obviously he had just gone through some situation he was trying to tell me about with his neighbor, where a fisherman caused $1,700 of damage with a rubber worm, is what he said. I don't know how you cause that much damage, but there was something that had transpired and that was fresh on this guy's mind. And so I just kind of wanted to say, yo, I'm sorry for hitting your dock, and just move on. I did not feel like dealing with the confrontation on that particular morning. And so that's what I did. I kind of kept the trolling motor on, and shortly after where I cut the video, like, I just left. I left that area, and I actually ended up going up the lake, which the rest of this video actually ends up being a pretty cool day. It was one of those days that I struggled, but things kind of came together. So I definitely urge you guys to continue washing. So I'll see you back in the video.
Now, after fishing for a little while without getting bit, I decided that I was going to run up to the northern part of this lake where I had seen that off-colored water that looked like it had an algae bloom.
Let's go. Just got fish number 1 on our way to 12 pounds. And we've been fishing for about an hour and 47 minutes, I think. And so I've had several bites on a frog. That was probably the best bite. So I think that a lot of those fish were small. And then one that seemed okay, he was probably around this size, was really tucked up underneath of a mat. But I literally just kind of changed locations in this lake. I noticed in my run through that there was a little bit more of an algae bloom on this side. So the water's just a little bit more off color. And the thing about algae blooms is they can be really bad at times, sucking a lot of oxygen out of a lake, but they can also really act kind of more or less like muddy water. and really push fish up shallow. So that fish weighs 169. So definitely gonna need a little bit better sized fish to get up to 12 pounds in our little time frame here, but good fish to get started. Look how fat, healthy fish, big fish. Look at him, looks like a little grouper. All right, buddy. Caught that fish on a little frog. I've actually been thinking about changing the colors, but that fish got it really good. So maybe it's just an into the lake type of thing. So we got, I also liked this particular section of the lake. When I did my run through, I noticed just how many more docks per capita, per square inch of real estate here. There's a lot more docks, which can be good, but it could be bad too. But I just figured there's a lot of cover. It's a little bit different. Maybe there's a fish here, and sure enough, there was one. So let's keep on keeping on. Always throw by ladders. Gosh, goodness. Oh, that's cool. That was such a good, sweet bite. That's a better fish, too. I mean, right there. All right, just got fish number 2 real quick. Man, I was so close to that fish. I was trying to get underneath that ladder over there, got really close to this dock, decided to pitch under, and I'm glad I did, because this guy came out and smoked it. There we go, 2.77. That's gonna help. That's the kind we're looking for here. 277. Nice solid fish right there. Gosh, right up underneath that dock. Tell you what, I don't know if hopefully I ran into a section that's got them, but what a difference a little move can make. Was literally, I fished probably a mile of water down there, because everything kind of looks the same except for in this general area. And I fished probably a mile of water, and I had a couple blow-ups, but none of them were like what I would consider good blow-ups. And hopefully we run into a few more. But I can definitely take my time now, slow down a little bit. I've been fishing pretty fast trying to cover water, but whew, what a bite. That was sick. Had to be careful not to set the hook too hard because I was so close to him. He was right there under that dock. Right there. That was awesome.
Now, after catching these 2 fish fairly quickly, I was starting to feel like $1,000,000 and thought that maybe I would get a lot of bites. But after about 30 more minutes of fishing without any bites, I just didn't really know. I was a little bit confused, and so I decided that I wanted to start fishing some offshore cover. So I spent a little time idling offshore, and I actually found a couple of really good looking rock piles, ones that had bait fish on them, and I could even see some individual bass. But after fishing these rock piles with a number of different lures and not catching any fish, I was starting to feel really dejected by this particular lake. At this point, I was about 4 hours into the 7-hour challenge, and I decided it was time to move down to the southern lake. Now, instead of just idling through the canal that connected these 2 lakes, the trolling motor that I'm using, which is a Minn Kota Ultrex Quest motor, can pull the boat at about 4.1 miles an hour. So I decided to go about as fast as it could and just fish everything in that canal. Why not fish instead of just idle through? Now, this ended up being a good idea because at the very end of the canal where it opened up into the main lake, I actually got bit by a bass. Now, although this fish missed the frog, once again, it did give me a clue that there was going to be some shallow water fish. So I just continued on with my trolling motor, going down the bank and fishing these shallow duckweed mats.
Oh. That was a giant.
Now, shortly after entering the lake, I had another big blow up and the fish missed the frog once again, and I thought maybe I was just fishing a little bit too fast at this point. So I just decided that I was gonna keep that frog locked in my hand and I was gonna slow down and really concentrate on the bites that I was getting.
Well, we've had 4 frog bites in the last 20 minutes. And so I think I'm just gonna frog for the rest of the time. I got about 2.5 hours. And I had to take my chesty off because it's kind of raining. And I have an open battery compartment, but I might put it back on here in just a minute because it is, it's not raining too bad right now. So maybe I should have been in this lake the whole time. It's not a giant, but it's a fish. 145. 145, we got 6 pounds. So if we can catch 2 3-pounders, we'll hit 12 pounds. And we can go home. Well, I'm sure these bites seem like them one after another, but they are few and far between. The last bite that I got, that fish, was probably 250 yards away. 1.67. 167. So we're at 7.6. If we want to get to 12 pounds, we need a 4.4 pounder. I'm sure that there is a 440 swimming around. Well, we got 5. I was 45 minutes ago, I was about to give up, I'm not gonna lie. I went right by my truck into this other lake, and I was like, you know what, I can just go in. No one will ever know the difference. But I just couldn't do it. So at least we got 5 now. 2 of the probably right ones. This one's a 2.27. 2.27. Solid fish. Catch a couple more like that one, and we can get there. Sorry that I don't have my chesty on. Probably didn't see that bite, but flipped right up underneath that dock. And I'm actually only about 20 yards away from where that last fish was, so maybe we got a little section here. I'm going to slow down a little bit. Every time I've thought that, though, today, it hasn't worked. Oh my gosh. Come on, fish. That's a good one. Real good one. Oh my gosh. I was about to give up. I'm telling you guys, I was about to give up so many times already today. And that fish is, what a fish. All right, let's weigh it real quick. That's over 3. Oh yeah, 352. Replaces a 145. Oh my gosh, it gives us 1194. We need 0.06 pounds. Look at that. What a fish, dude. Beautiful. Thick and beautiful. All right. If we get like a 1 3/4, we can go home and see my family. What a bite, though. What a bite. There it is. There it freaking is. That's 12 pounds right there. Well, we did it. We did it. I should have came down here so long ago. I wasted so much time. But that's gonna give us 12. I would stay and keep fishing, but I just kind of want to get home to my boys and see them maybe before they go to bed tonight. We got about 6-hour drive. That weighs 284. Places are 167. And give us 13.11. 13.11. Took us, it's 1:25. We started fishing about 7:15, so about 6 hours. And man, we got down to this other lake, and I wish I would have come down here first thing, because I feel like if we did this all day long, we could have 15, 16 pounds plus, so maybe 17. I mean, if we did it all day. But that's a wrap. We did it. We did it. Gosh, what a freaking day. Guys, I really hope you enjoy these lake break videos. Today it was very tough on me. I don't know, I tried a little bit of everything, and I ended up just locking that frog in my hand and was able to get some bites on it. And man, we got a lot of bites down on this other lake. Like, I mean, we've been fishing down here for an hour and a half, and I feel like I said, I feel like we could have gone and just caught so many fish down here. But I'm glad we came down here, and it's time to go home. I can get on the road at 2 and maybe be home by 8 or 9. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.